Hilchot Dei'os Perek Shlishi, the third chapter about character development and how to behave. Until now we saw that there's a very big inyan, there's actually a mitzvah to follow the middle path on every character trait. The middle path is Derech Hashem. That's the path of Hashem. Today the Rambam continues on the topic about the middle path, but now he's specifically talking about the middle path when you engage with the physical world. Yesterday and the day before it was in your character. Should you be angry? Should you be humble? Should you be haughty? Should you be pacifist? Today we're talking about how to deal with the world on the middle path also. Halacha Aleph, Shema Yomar HaAdam. Maybe a person will say, Ho'il, v'hakin'a v'hatahava v'hakavod v'chayotzei bahem. Since you told me yesterday, at the end of Perek Bet, that jealousy and lust and honor, and anything like it, derech ra'ahin u'motzin et ha'adam min ha'olam, they're a bad path, they take you out of the world, efrosh mehen biyoter, ve'etrachek l'tzad ha'acharon. So I'm going to separate from them very much. No jealousy, no lust, no honor at all, and go to the other side completely. Ad shelo yochal basar, v'lo yishteh yayin. He's not going to eat anything good or drink anything good. No meat, no wine. V'lo yisa isha. Not even going to get married. V'lo yeshev b'dirana. Not going to live in a nice house either. V'lo yilbash malbushna. I'm not even going to wear nice clothing. Ela hasak v'hatzemer hakasheh v'chayotzei bahen. I'm only going to wear sackcloth and tough sheepskin, v'chayotzei bahen, or anything like it. Kigon kohanei avdei kochavim, like the idol-worshipping priests. Apparently the monks in those days, or the gurus or whatnot, that's how they used to do it. They lived the life of asceticism, out of the physical world, no eating, no drinking, no nice clothes, nothing. I'm sure, in India, all these places. Gam zeh derech ra'ahi, says the Rambam, that's also a bad way. You cannot go on that path. If you go in this path, you're actually called a sinner. We find in the Torah, it says about a Nazir. Who's a Nazir? A person who wants to also get away from the world, not drink wine, not grow his hair. So it says, that he has to bring korbanot to atone for that which he sinned on his soul. Amru chachamim. So the sages say, why is the Torah calling the Nazir chata? Why is it calling him a sinner? In the literal context, this is a Nazir who became tameh in the middle of his term. He touched a dead body. But it could also, according to the Talmud, be referring to a Nazir tahor, a pure Nazir who did everything right. In the end, he still needs atonement because he did a sin. What's the sin? The sin is that he didn't take pleasure in all the pleasures of the world. Amru chachamim, said the sages, Uma im Nazir. If a Nazir, shalo parash ela min hayayin, who only separated himself from wine, tzarich kapara, he needs to have atonement. Hamonea atzmo mikol davar v'davar. If somebody just voluntarily holds himself back from everything in the world, alachat kama v'chama, how much more so should he be considered a sinner? And therefore, the Torah actually says that we have to take pleasure. We have to use that which the world offers us. Lefichach tzivu chachamim. Therefore, the sages commanded shelo yimna adam atzmo, that a person should not withhold himself ela midvarim shemena'atu haTorah bilvad, only from those things which Torah says you can't have. Oh, so let's see in a second. And he should not forbid himself through oaths or promises with things that are permitted. Don't take an oath, I'm not going to drink any more wine, I'm not going to have any more meat. So said the sages, in the Talmud Yerushalmi famously, Lo dayecha ma she'asra Torah. It's not enough for you, what the Torah forbade. Ela she'ata oser alecha dvarim acherim. You're a bigger tzaddik than the Torah. You're going to take more isurim upon yourself. Included in that also is elu shemitanin tamid. You fast constantly, einan b'derech tova. You're not in a good way. The sages forbade that you should pain yourself with ta'anit. Many people fast for tshuva. That's okay. You're not doing it to pain yourself. If you're doing it to pain yourself, that's a bad thing. And about all these things and anything similar, tzivah Shlomo v'amar. Shlomo Melech said, Al tihi tzaddik harbe. Don't be too righteous. V'al titchakam yoter. And don't be too smart. Lama tishomem. Why should you basically self-destruct? Why should you destroy yourself? So the Ron's asking a very good question. We find in the Chachamim so many instructions, Kadesh atzmecha b'mutar lach, make yourself holy with that which is permitted. There's actually something to be said about not indulging in every single pleasure. So the commentaries deal with it. Some places they say that actually that's the true way. The true way is even what's permitted for you, you should also limit yourself. The Rambam over here is talking about somebody who's on a higher level that using the world won't disrupt his avodat Hashem, so he's supposed to use it. Some say it's like what we saw yesterday. There's the difference between if you're sick or if you're healthy. If you're healthy on a regular path, this is for a healthy person. Healthy person should engage in everything he needs to. But a person who's fallen to the extreme, sometimes you have to take the other extreme back also. And some things that were permitted to you, you have to stop indulging for a bit, then you can come back. But ultimately, the derech ha'emtza'it, where it seems like the middle path, the average path, is to use what you can in your service of Hashem. And that's probably why also this halakha comes in this chapter. It's on the same theme as the last chapter, about the derech ha'emtza'it. But now the Rambam is going to go into how to use everything that you use in the world for Hashem's service. That's why he gives this first halakha as a hakdama, as introduction, that you're supposed to use everything in the world that Hashem gave you. And now we're going to see how to use it right. Halakha bet. Tzaricha adam. A person needs to sheyechaven libo v'chol ma'asav kulam, to align his heart and all his deeds. Leida et Hashem baruch hu bilvad, to know Hashem alone. If you just do what Hashem does, you copy him, you can copy Hashem without thinking about him for many years. But you're also supposed to mindfully try to access Hashem in everything that you do. So that what that means essentially is that you do everything with a certain intent. When he sits, when he stands, when he speaks, it should all be focused on this matter of knowing Hashem. Ketzad, how does this mean? So the Rambam explains, when you do business, or you do work, and you're going to be paid for it. Your only goal shouldn't be just to make more money, another dollar. Rather, what am I doing? Why am I working? So that I can get what my body needs. Eating, drinking, having a house, and marriage. So already, even though your goal is not directly for Hashem, but you're already having a higher purpose. You're not just getting a bigger bank account, you want to also take care of yourself, to eat and drink and have a house and marry. Then, when you do those things, when you go ahead and eat, and when you go ahead and drink, and have relations with the woman you marry, now make that with a higher purpose. Don't just eat and drink and do bi'ilah so to have pleasure. Because that will lead you to a different life. If you only look to have pleasure, it's going to come out, you're only going to eat and drink sweet things. Not what's good for your body, but what's good for your palate. And you're also going to have relations only to have pleasure. Rather, you should put into your mind, why are you eating and drinking? To make my body and my limbs healthy. If that's your goal when you eat and drink, well, you're going to watch your diet. Therefore, you're not going to eat whatever your palate desires, like a dog and a donkey. That's what they do. Rather, you're going to eat what's helpful for your body, whether it's bitter or it's sweet. And you're not going to eat bad things for your body, even though they might taste sweet on the tongue. Ketzad, for example, what is meant over here? If a person has a hot flesh, I guess it means a warm constitution or a high body temperature. Lo yochal basar v'lo dvash, shouldn't eat too much meat or too much honey. V'lo yishteh yayin, and you shouldn't drink too much wine. Ki inyan she'amar Shlomo HaMelech derech mashal, as Shlomo HaMelech said, by way of metaphor, he said, achol dvash harbot lo tov. To eat honey too much is no good. He meant it as an allegory, but it also has literal sense of the meaning. Don't eat too much honey. Sometimes if your body is made in a certain way, honey is no good for you. V'shoteh meha olashin. And on the other hand, honey is sweet. You're going to stay away from sweet things because it's good for you. On the other hand, you're going to drink meha olashin, endive juice, or endive water, afal pi shehumar, even though it's bitter. Endives, it's like huh? Kind of green vegetable. I was going to bring one here today just to show you that. I didn't have it. Huh? Licorice? That's what they say in the commentaries there? Like chicory. Here they translate it as endive juice. Arak. Yeah, it's a leaf. It's a green leaf. Yes. Yes, exactly. Longer. But the bottom line is that, okay, whatever ulshin should be, chicory or endives, the point is you're going to drink it, afal pi shehumar, even though it's bitter. Why? Because it's helpful for your body. It turns out, you're going to eat and drink only by way of medicinal purposes. healthy reasons. Kadesh yavri v'yamod shalem, so that you'll be healthy and you'll be able to stand up with a complete body. Ho'il v'efshar la'adam lichyot ela ba'achila u'shtiyah. Since it's impossible to live only if you eat and drink. So you're trying to keep yourself alive. That's what you're trying to do, not to just have a good time. So you're going to eat and drink what's good for you. The same thing when you have relations. Lo yiv'al ela kidei lehavrot gufo. You only do so with the intent to make your body healthy, u'kidei lekayem et hazara, and to keep the human species going. Lefichach eino bo'el kol zman sheyitaveh. What's going to be the benchmark? What's the litmus test? You're not going to have relations every time you desire. Ela kol et sheyida shu tzarich lahotzi shichvat zera. Only at every time that you know that your body needs to let out some semen, like the medicine will tell you, or even if you don't need to, but you need to have children. So here we see how the ladder builds. You start with work in order not just to make money, but to be able to have what your body needs. You give your body what it needs, not just for pleasure, but to keep yourself alive and keep the human species alive. So there's always a higher purpose. Now says the Rambam even further. We can go a little deeper. Let's say a person is behaving with health reasons in mind. He's doing everything right. But even there you can get sidetracked. If a person only thinks, that's all I want. I want to have a healthy body. I'm taking care of my body. I love my body. I think it's holy. I'm going to keep it alive. But that's it. There's no higher purpose than that. Or, I'm going to have children. They're going to do my work. They'll take care of me. That's why I want children. So then, even though till now you've been going for a higher purpose, but now your higher purpose stops. And there's a mistake there. Ein zu derech tova. That's not a good way. Ella, rather, the next step on the ladder is, yasim al libo, you should put into your mind, sheyehe gufo shalem b'chazak. Why do I want my body to be healthy and strong? Kedei shetiyeh nafsho yeshara ladat et Hashem. So that my soul can be straight and ready to know Hashem. It's impossible for a person to understand deeply and think about wisdom when you're hungry or sick or one of your limbs are hurting. You're out of commission. You can't think about the things that you should be thinking about. And even when you have children, you should put into your heart that you'll have a child. Maybe he'll be a wise man. Maybe he'll be a Gadol B'Yisrael. So you've infused even having children with a sense of holiness. The fourth Chabad Rebbe, the Rebbe Maharash, once had his two children. They were wondering, what's the difference between a Yid and a Goy? What's the core difference between a Jew and a non-Jew? So their father told him he's going to explain it to them. He called in one of the Jews. I believe it was a Jew first. One of his Hasidim who were his attendants, and he asked him, "Why do you, Ben Sion, did you eat good today?" He says, "Yeah, I ate good, Baruch Hashem." "Why did you eat?" "So that I can live." "Why do you live?" "So that I can serve Hashem and do what I have to do." So he said, "You can go." And he called in Ivan, the Goyish attendant, and he said, "Ivan, did you eat today?" He said, "Yes, Rebbe, I did." "Did you eat well?" "Yes, very good, very well." "Why do you eat?" "So I can live." "And why do you live?" "So I can have another cup of whiskey." Vodka. It's a question of purpose. A person, a Yid, lives so that he can have a healthy body, but he has a healthy body for a reason also. So he can serve Hashem. Nimtza. Says the Rambam, it comes out. Hamahalech b'derech zu kol yamav. If a person goes in this way all of his days, oved et Hashem tamid. Essentially, he's serving Hashem always. Afilu b'sha'ah shenoseh v'noten. Even when he's doing business. Va'afilu b'sha'ah shebo'el. Even while he's having relations, which seem to be very mundane physical things. Because your thought and your purpose with everything is kedeshim tzatzrachav. You want to find all your needs. Ad gufo shalem la'avodat Hashem, so that your body can be complete. And why is your body going to be complete? To serve Hashem. Va'afilu b'sha'ah shehu yashen. Amazing thing. Even when you're sleeping and you're not consciously aware, im yashen ladat. If you're sleeping with the purpose, kedesh tanuach da'ato alav, so your brain can take a rest. V'yanuach gufo, and your body can take a rest. Kedei shelo yechaleh, so you don't get sick. V'lo yuchal la'avodat Hashem. V'hu choleh, because you can't serve Hashem when you're sick. Nimtzet shina shelo avodah la'makom baruch hu. Turns out your sleep is a service to Hashem. By the way, he says here, v'lo yuchal, you can't serve Hashem when you're sick. Obviously, it means you could if you try. It's always possible to do it. You have free choice. But the idea is you won't be able to do it easily if you're tired. So therefore, it turns out that even your sleep is a service to God. And about this subject, this way of life. Tzivu chachamim va'amru, our sages commanded and said, V'chol ma'asecha yiyu l'shem shamayim, all your deeds should be for the sake of heaven. V'hu she'amar Shlomo b'chokhmato, and Shlomo HaMelech also said in his wisdom, B'chol drachecha da'ehu, know him in all your ways, V'hu yiyasher orchotecha, and he will straighten your paths. Rambam brings Shlomo HaMelech second, even though he's a pasuk, because it's two levels. First, you serve Hashem l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven. You're doing what you're doing, but you have a good intent. Then there's a way where you can serve Hashem, b'chol drachecha, in the ways, da'ehu. You could know them in the ways. Even when you eat and drink, it's not just for a purpose of serving Hashem, but your eating and drinking is holy. You make a blessing, it becomes a holy pursuit. Make an after blessing, it's also holy. You do it for keeping your body healthy, or having children to populate the world. You can have Hashem in the things as well. So you have l'shem shamayim, that's first, and then you have b'chol drachecha da'ehu, knowing him in your ways themselves. And now, that's the end of Perek Gimel.